What is the role of the 1792 exchange in our fight against wokeness infiltrating every single aspect of our society? And now that it has infiltrated so much, in fighting it back, what do you guys do?
Well, Mike, our role is to make sure that corporations steer back to neutral and that they leave these woke policies and stop succumbing to these woke policies out there. And so that's what our effort is to make sure that we get folks back to neutral, that our companies or corporations are serving all people, that they're not pushing partisan agendas, that they're focused on producing high quality products. And that's what we stand to do daily. And of course, like you, we're excited about what happened with Tractor Supply.
Yep. And you, I should say one thing too, you rate these companies, or you give them ratings, which is what the Human Rights, what's the name of the group? Human Rights Campaign. They do too, right? The Human Rights Campaign gives their super far left-wing ratings.
Yeah.
And then those are used. So what do these investment companies do with the Human Rights Campaign's ratings? And then what are your ratings?
Yeah. So the Human Rights Campaign has what's called the Corporate Equality Index, and they basically say to a corporation that you fill this out, or we're going to apply a bunch of pressure to you, all sorts of things. But basically what the rating says is the more woke you are, the more far left progressive you are as a corporation, the better we rate you, the more points we give you. And actually what we say, Mike, to your point, with our corporate bias rating, we actually say no. It's actually more important to focus on your business, focus on high quality products, focus on the best consumer and customer experience, the best return on investment to the shareholder. Those are the things that we believe. Oh, and by the way, making sure that you're serving all people, that you're not hostile to folks that might have a traditional view and traditional values. We want to make sure you're serving all people. Calvin Coolidge said at some point during his presidency, he said, the business of America is business. And we want to make sure that that's what our corporations are getting back to. And so our corporate bias rating ensures that happens.
I think this is important because you're not focused on rating these companies based off if they're conservative or not. It's just if they're good business and if they're hostile to conservatives. It's like being neutral is all we're looking for. But I should say that the Human Rights Campaign, this left-wing group, when they give these rankings, that's what BlackRock and all these other big investment things, that's what they use in order to figure out who to invest in or not. All right, so tell us a story. What did Tractor Supply do a little bit ago?
Well, look, this basically stems out of Tractor Supply's decision back in 2023 to just go fully lean into some from far left and progressive ideology. And really it was counter to, in our judgment, and I think the collective judgment of most people, it was counter to their customer base. And despite moving forward and selling to a conservative, traditional, values-based customer group, they were leaning in on these far left ideas and ideology. And ultimately that came to light the beginning of this year with folks like Robbie Starbuck and others. I will tell you that at 1792 Exchange, we sent a letter to Tractor Supply saying, look, you shouldn't be filling out the Corporate Equality Index. What you should be focused on is good business, because if you fill out the Corporate Equality Index and you try to do things like Target and Bud Light, you're going to hurt your bottom line. And then on the other flip side, there's legal exposure as well, which you see with Activision and some airlines when they take these progressive stances. It ends up alienating those within their company that might have traditional values. So we sent that letter in 1792. I sent it to Tractor Supply organization. There's folks like Robbie Starbuck and others that were exposing, if you will, publicly some of the decision-making that Tractor Supply was doing, leaning into these progressive ideas. And ultimately, Tractor Supply decided to respect their customer base. And they decided to say that, look, we're not going to continue moving forward some of these green energy policies that are inconsistent with the majority of customers that we serve. We're not going to continue to go down the the road of DEI that, again, is inconsistent with the majority of customers we serve, and we're not going to continue filling out the corporate equality index, again, because it's inconsistent with our customer base and their values. And I found that greatly encouraging. I hope your listeners find it encouraging as well. I'm reminded of the fact that, there is strength in numbers. There's strength in collectively making sure that we are being vigilant against this far-left ideology that has, frankly, tried to take over, and has done so in many ways, our academic institutions, has tried to take over the bureaucracy in our government, and has certainly tried to infiltrate our corporations as well. And so I think as a counter, your listeners, 1792 Exchange, other folks that have a public platform should really be consistently driving the message that we've got to get and steer our corporations back to neutral. And that's what we're trying to do at 1792 Exchange. And Mike, I appreciate you as well, always focusing on this.
Well, it's great. It's great news, and we should be encouraged by their repentance, and we should reward them for their courageous, it's so crazy that we have to say it, but like courageous stance. Like, it's one thing for maybe a Target. I mean, I think that's actually pretty crazy too. You think Target would be pretty like mainstream, but okay, let's say Target goes woke. Okay, we lost Target. Tractor Supply Company? Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing, Tractor Supply Company? So here's their statement. They said, we will no longer submit data to the Human Rights Campaign, as you said. Yep. We will further focus on rural America priorities, including ag, education, animal welfare, veteran causes, and being a good neighbor.
Yeah.
And stop sponsoring non-business activities like pride festivals and voting campaigns. Eliminate DEI roles, retire our current DEI goals, and still ensuring a respectful environment, of course.
Yeah.
And withdraw our carbon emissions goals and focus on our land and water conservation efforts. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Perfect. The question is, what happened in the first place? Who was in charge? How did it infiltrate in the first place where they were doing all these not helpful things?
Well, look, let me step back and say that, to your point, we want to reward and promote and encourage corporations to take the road that in many ways is less traveled. And look, I want to say here to your viewer, look, shop at Tractor Supply. Tell your friends about the what Tractor Supply has done, because, again, we want this replicated with other companies and corporations. But I'll say, what had happened, and we see this a lot, honestly, is that.
And we got about 60 seconds. Sorry,
well,
60 seconds.
CEOs, they feel the pressure of these outside groups. That's what's happened. That's what happened at Tractor Supply. The CEO and other leadership at Tractor Supply was feeling the pressure of these outside groups. And so, again, your listeners, 1792 Exchange, other folks that have public platforms, have to be willing to step up to the plate to hold these corporations accountable, but also encourage and promote them when they're doing good things. That's what Tractor Supply did here. I'm glad. I know your listeners are glad as well, and we'll keep pushing.
Beautiful. 1792exchange.com. That's Daniel Cameron. He's the head of it, former Attorney General of Kentucky. Great to talk to you, Daniel. Appreciate you, brother.
Pleasure, brother. All right, man.